And Watercraft Network is happy to welcome our friend Nick Cairns from the TC Jet Pilots. Nick, what's happening, man?
Well, folks, it's time to kick it old school, so you can feel cool. Give it to me, baby.
Not a whole lot, just trying to get cleaned up before the snow starts flying.
Yeah, the dreaded S word, man. Same thing here in New York. You know, we know it's coming. You know, we've had a real mild fall up here, and we've actually been riding up until the last couple of weekends, which is really abnormal for us in New York to be able to, you know, comfortably ride into the fall. So that snow is going to be flying soon, and none of us watercraft guys are looking forward to it.
We were riding into up until 2 weekends ago, I think we had some big waves on Lake Superior, and a couple of guys went out there and rode it and got chastised for being out there because it was big waves and nobody was going to take care of them if they got ski or anything else.
Yeah,
but yeah, our guys, they're doing.
Yeah, you're kind of on your own when that happens in those cold conditions.
Crazy up there on Lake Superior when the wind's blowing north to south, it gets nuts.
Oh yeah, those Great Lakes, man. Yeah, I can imagine. So tell me about the Sortie. How did it? You know, it's funny because I'm glad we got an opportunity to talk, because the Sortie has always been like, you know, you guys do such a good job promoting that event. Even, you know, back in the day before, you know, the popularity of social media. Well, not necessarily social media. Yeah, like with the message boards and the old Ride magazine.
Mm-hmm.
You guys, you've always done such a good job. You know, I remember flipping open Ride magazine and going, damn, I want to go to that. I want to go to that event. You know what I mean?
I take the credit for all that, especially early on. You know, we've always had a really good crew of guys. You know, there's still a fair amount of them that are still showing up every year. Yeah, I mean, you know, way back in the day when it first started with Ride magazine and all that, you know, we were out on an island on the St. Croix. It was an absolute disaster to get everybody out there. And every year we had some crazy storm, and but you know, there was just nothing better when the weather would be right, and then we'd get everybody's stuff out there and get a big bonfire going on the sand pile. I mean, you know, it was awesome, and we've always been pretty well, you know, organized as far as having, you know, about 10 guys that have always been, you know, hardcore on it. We've, you know, my buddy Scott instrumental in really getting things started and bringing in more sponsors and making us realize that it could be more than just 20, 30 guys that are just out there riding weekend, that, you know, we could raise money for different types of charity things and promote watercraft more than just being a bunch of crazy jet skiers like a lot of people think.
Yeah, and that's what you guys have always done so well, Nick, is you know, created that image as, you know, a positive ambassador for the community. And you know, that's one thing I think that, you know, I look at it as you and Paul, who does the Badgerland event. I mean, just really the benchmark for, you know, events and how they should be organized, executed, managed, promoted, exposed, marketed. I mean, just a great job that I mean, you guys, you know, really set the bar high. So, you know, tell me about how was this year's event this past season?
Unbelievable. You know, I actually stepped down as organizer, president, whatever you want to call the official tagline, and I handed it over to Jason Augustine. I was just too busy with business and stuff. I'm still in the background, you know, helping them out with anything I can help with. Jason really took some things to the next level. We've got so many people in the group, a buddy, one of our guys, Kirk, he's really big into riding and bought a Richter and all this stuff, and has been talking with TC Freeride, Taylor Curtis, and Mark Gomez. And as I said, I've been out of the loop. I didn't want to be trying to push everything because I wanted to be in the background. I didn't want to take over, when I handed over the reins. So I just let people do their thing. And Kirk actually was the one that contacted Mark Gomez and with them and us, Westside Powersports, we sponsored him and brought, paid for some plane tickets and got him out to ride with us for the weekend. And I mean, they're just, you get so much stoke from people in the business like that. And, Mark Gomez is an absolute ambassador to the sport. I mean, there's just nobody better. He can be out there and be professional and going all over the world and everything else, but a true rider. He's out there to have fun, just like we're talking about, promoting the sport. And, there's just no better guy to have it at an event. Talking to the kids and talking to the new guys that are just, getting into the sport and got their $500 machine, we're not putting them down for that. We're showing them that, that's where you start and this is where you go and help them learn how to be an ambassador instead of a hindrance to the sport, because, it's very easy for our sport to get a bad name. That's for sure.
Absolutely. And that's why, it's great that, guys like you, your group, are able to network with a guy like a Gomez, someone of that, who's so well renowned in the industry, and get him involved with your event. It's just really cool that you were able to pull that off.
Jason picked up I think it's a Kawasaki SXI for the raffle ski this year.
Nice.
Last year he put together a blaster. And I mean, that's what really brings the people in and really want to put money into the donation box, to have something that awesome to be able to win. And
absolutely. Yeah. And I know you Westside Powersports, your business, you guys donate to a ton of events, not just the Sortie out there. So I know how active you are. You've donated to events that I've been involved with. I see that you guys are very active within the community. So, for people who don't know, what is it that you specialize in? I know you're a Sea-Doo guy. I can see it on your shirt right there.
Yeah. Sea-Doos. I mean, we're mainly two-stroke, but it's not to say that we aren't into the four-stroke stuff. I ran into a cracked spark a couple of seasons ago and parted that down. It just, whatever comes up is what we got to grab. We really specialize in programming the computers for the Sea-Doos, diagnostics in that area. That's a core part of Sea-Doo business, obviously, but, more often than not, we're out there, helping these guys figure out what the heck's going on. 'Cause there's a lot of guys that, they're just getting into the sport. They bought a machine that's got a few problems, and they've got, everybody's instant satisfaction these days. They don't want to spend the time to go look on the forums and try to come up with an answer. And, if a guy calls me and says, hey, this is happening, and they can answer 3 questions for me, I'm going to be able to give them three ideas, and one of them's probably going to fix their problem. And, that's our main, that's the main thing. It's Sea-Doos. That's it. We did a little bit of Kawasaki and Yamaha stuff early on. And, we just got niched as the Sea-Doo guys. We weren't getting any calls for that stuff. I started running out of space. So, I sold all that stuff to a buddy just to make more room on the shelf for Sea-Doo stuff.
And speaking of which, you have a ton. I mean, I always notice, if there's someone online that's looking for something Sea-Doo related, they're pointed in your direction. I mean, you just must have, all of that obscure, not just obscure stuff, hard to find, but all of the Sea-Doo parts that most people are regularly looking for. It certainly seems that way.
Some hard to find stuff. We're always trying to, buy those weird machines that we know that part's hard to come by. We want to try to keep that kind of stuff on the shelf, but our name gets thrown out there a lot because of our integrity. That's
absolutely.
We started that day one. In this business, there's just too many clowns, that are willing to just sell you whatever they can sell you to make a buck and then fight you when it's the wrong part. We're here to help. I mean, it's, we live and breathe the sport. There's sport, they go sell it and they're gone, they're done. And if we can put them on and, fix their one problem that they got, and they can get it on the water and give them some ideas on what they got to do next to keep it, your proper maintenance. Cause, we all know nobody's doing their maintenance enough. And, get those carbs cleaned up, the fuel lines replaced, get the electronics working correctly, get out on the water, get their kids out there, get them exposed to it. And, they might be a watercraft guy for life. You just never know.
Well, and that's why I said earlier, that the TC jet pilots I have always viewed as great ambassadors for the sport. And you use the word integrity. And I mean, that's really what you're 100% right. That's how you've been able to develop the reputation since way back in the PWC Today and Ride Magazine days, of always being one of those guys who isn't willing to sacrifice his integrity for a couple $100 or a couple $1,000. And unfortunately, in this information age that we live in of social media, and that's the nice thing about watercraft, exploring new areas. And you're 100. Paul's one of those guys that we have to talk to this year. As I said earlier, benchmark event. Yeah, you guys set the bar, and as I said, just the caliber of people that you are. Obviously that translates to the events that you execute. So we're looking forward to talking to him, and you again. We're gonna get you back early spring, so we can get a little bit of the inside line on the 2018 Sortie.
Yep, sounds great. Yeah, definitely. I appreciate the time.
No, hey, thanks for taking the time with us tonight.
Yep, absolutely. Thank you.